everybody. I'm Tom Vasel, and welcome. Good morning to live Q&A on January 20th, 2025. I am almost putting 2025 down by habit, but not quite yet. Still a little confusing to do, but hey, we're almost at 21, 25, 25. We're going to run out of ways to do numbers at some point, I think. You know, people were very excited when it was 11/11/11 when Skyrim was released. We're still waiting for the sequel. Anyhow, good morning, everybody. If you are watching this is the Dice Tower, and we'd love you to stop watching this video right now, pause, and go to our fundraising at gamefound.com, or just type in supportdicetower.com and back us there. We would love for you to support the Dice Tower for this upcoming year. It is how we keep going. We basically need you so that we can put out a year's worth of content, and we hope that you go check it out. Link in the comments. Mike just put it there, but again, you can find us just basically by going to supportdicetower.com. Alrighty, well, just Q&As over the weekend. I taught my son Star Realms Academy, which is a kid's version of Star Realms, and I think tonight I'm just teaching him Star Realms. I may have addicted him to deck building games. We will see. I also watched episodes 1 and 2 of Star Wars with him, which he's never seen. He really enjoyed the first episode. Looking back at the original Star Wars movies, the first one isn't that bad. Yes, the kid who plays Anakin Skywalker isn't great, and the Jar Jar Binks character is very jarring. Would have been better in a much smaller dose, and the midichlorian stuff is just kind of like, those are my 3 sticking points. Other than that, though, I like everything. I think the pod race is amazing. The end sequence is really cool. The music by John Williams is fantastic, so I like it. Better than the sequels. The second one has a really rough start. The last half of the movie I like a lot. My son was extremely excited when Yoda came out at the end. And, that is a really cool moment. And those battle sequences, the Trade Federation against the Clone Army, is just a really cool battle sequence. And even the arena fight, I really like that. Everything from there on, except for C-3PO, they kind of made him the Jar Jar Binks of this episode. There's a little too much of him, probably. The first half, the love story, the Obi-Wan detective thing is, the Obi-Wan detective thing is okay. The love story is terrible. But it's still a decent movie. And then, let me see, the third one, I haven't shown him yet. We'll see that later this week. I'm curious to see his response to that. Because, see, my son, we watched 4, 5, and 6 first. He hasn't yet put it together that Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader. So I'm very curious to see his reaction on that reveal. He was really mind blown. He's like, that's the same C-3PO. I was like, yes, it is. So I'm curious to see how he feels like that, because it doesn't matter what order you show the kids things in, I don't think he's put together that Palpatine is the Emperor either. So I'm curious how he will feel about the third movie. The third movie is much darker than the other ones. So we'll see. All right. Let's see here. I'm going to Dice Tower West and got a flea market table. I was surprised the time to sell was only 2 hours. Any reason it's not 3 to 4 hours? Well, I didn't set it up, so I don't know, but I feel if you can't sell it in 2 hours, you can't sell it in 3 and 4 hours. People will come in, it'll be busy, you'll sell games or not. Price them to sell. I always tell people that price games to sell. Why bring games in that you're going to take home? My goal would be to go home with nothing. GameFound pledge done. Thank you, Tommy from Texas. Speaking of that, let's do some of our wonderful backers from our Kickstarter last year. Let's say thank you to the Ferndale Foray Blood Bowl League. Today is the 20th. I said that already. To Patrick Zock, to Anton Tsai, to Cooper and Annie Youngs, to Kevin Morris and family, to John Justice, to Daniel Westermark, to Steve and Beverly Sanderson, to Mike and Mackenzie in Delaware, to Suzanne Unjens aus Bayern, to Lord Stein of Vancouver, Washington, and Teresa and Victoria Reyes. Thank you, all of you, You are fantastic. Anyway, back to Tommy from Texas. Is there plans for marble race at Dice Tower West? I will hopefully have that information done in a week or two, and I'll let you. Well, you'll find out. Have you ever heard of the party trivia game from 1992 designed by Richard Borg called Times to Remember? All right, let me look this up. Times to Remember. I've never played it. You're trying to remember particular times. That's interesting. I don't know if that would be good or not. You have these different brackets and you're putting them down, and if you get a bracket correct, it's out of the game. So eventually you might be down to a single year guessing when something happens. Huh. That sounds interesting. I would try it out. All right. You have more news about a possibly improved quality edition of Comic Hunters. I don't know anything. Comic Hunters, even though it's a Dice Tower Essential, is made and produced by Spin Master. They're the ones who made it the quality that it is. And their communication on that with Arcane Wonders is not particularly high. I don't know if they'll make a better version or not. Have you finished Wind and Truth yet? Of course I have. We'll talk about it at the Big Game Bash. I had the same problem you did on the cruise. I found one person who finished it. So, what is your morning routine before most morning streams? I wake up every day at 5. Today I woke up a little early at 4:45. But I usually wake up at 5. Between 5 and 6, I'm kind of just getting up. I check emails. I do a little bit of work. I did not. I was very much concentrating. Is it rubbing?
Yeah, that's what you want to back for, folks. Tom being scared. Yeah, you're rubbing.
Oh.
How did you not see me come in here?
I was.
Go watch this. Hold on. You gonna see it live?
All right. Yay. Anyway, I was really answering the question. I got into it. I'm gonna try to straighten my shirt up there. Sorry about that. All right. Anyhow, so I get up at between 5 and 6. I wake up. I'm wide awake now. 6, my wife wakes up, and we usually walk the dogs. Today we did not because it was raining. So then I hang out in the kitchen, eat breakfast, do some reading, whatever, drink tea. The kids wake up at 6:30, spend time together. We do a family devotions at 7-ish, and then I head right over to work. When I get to work, so today I had to organize some things. I finished a boring unboxing for the week. I unboxed all the packages that came in over the weekend. I then had to go and do some data input on games that I played, put some games into the to be played, messed around a little bit, talked to the folks who came into the Dice Tower when they came in, got some games ready for review purposes later, sent some videos to Z and to Mike. And then I got ready for doing this. So that is my morning routine today. That's Monday. Are you driving to Dice Tower West? I would love to drive to Dice Tower West if I had a car that went 1,000,000 miles an hour. We fly. That's way too long to drive. Recently picked up Key Largo. Just curious if you still play it. I have not played it in a long, long time. I'd like to see this one reprinted, although I think both designers have passed away, or just maybe it's only one designer has passed away, so I don't know who has the rights to it. Why are there more people in the chat than there are likes on this stream? It's hard to remember to like videos, but you can like, subscribe, and click the bell, right? Are you coming to Spiel Essen this year? At the moment, we are planning to, yes. What was your favorite food on the cruise? At one of the restaurants, I had lobster mac and cheese, which was phenomenal. That was really, really good. That was at Hooked. Elseways, as dumb as it sounds, that bagel every morning really was amazing. You went to the Park Avenue and they give you a bagel with everything on it. Toasted bagel, cream cheese, capers, onions, tomatoes, lemon, and lox is fine, but I usually got the ham instead. But what a great way. I'm all nervous about this now. I don't want Z come back in here. Do you sometimes miss the day when a new game about trading in the Mediterranean came out every week? Maybe. Do you have a favorite comic book artist? No, I mean, I like a lot of comic books. It's hard for me to remember. I don't know artists that well in comic books. I only know when I don't like them. There was a time with the X-Men I had a hard time reading the comics in general because I disliked the art so much. But for the most part, I like them all. Is there a game that has come out lately that will change gaming drastically? No, not yet. Or are those games already done? There's always going to be things that change stuff. We just don't know what they are. I'm always amused when people say innovation is done, like forever. That's so demonstratively false in every category. Is there something? I mean, unless the category itself is phasing out. Like, I don't think new progress has been made in horse-drawn carriages. But, I mean, if something is still around, whether it's music or movies or books or games or whatever, there's always going to be innovation, and it will come. Who would win in an arm wrestling competition out of the Dice Tower crew? I don't know. Camilla? Kenny? Thank you for bringing back Marbles the other day. It was the first thing my son and I watched together. It was a treat to see it again. We're glad. Monday would actually be exciting if I got to unbox games. I don't hate coming into work Monday. I mean, the biggest thing about Monday is I make and that's one of the things I did this morning, is I don't have it here, but I make a whole list of things I need to do for the week. All the things I need to get done that week, and I'll probably add other things to do. But there's a lot of things I need to get done, and then I start checking them off as I do them. I see how much I can get done on Monday. I'm definitely more productive on Mondays than I am on Fridays. It just is what it is. Do I have a favorite album? I don't, because I've never listened to albums. Even back when I had CDs, I was always trying to figure out ways to randomize them. I mean, when I was a kid, my dad would take records and he would record songs and put them on tapes, and that was his mix. He would listen to the tapes, and I got to know those tapes in order, but then he would redo them every once in a while because he didn't like hearing the things in the same order, and I'm the same way. I know albums are made, this song comes after that song, etc., and that's fine. I've just always been a big random man. I use Spotify for my music listening now. I make my playlists, and I listen to them. I'm glad you all enjoyed the jump scare. Are there any games that you were surprised it didn't get checked out as much on the cruise? Maybe. I'd have to go back and look at them, but the cruise went pretty much the way I thought it did. What's my favorite? Custom dice game? You mean games that have custom dice in? I guess you wait till this week, when we start our top 100 games of all time. This Thursday, we'll be doing 100 to 91 and 90 to 81. On Friday, we'll be doing 80 to 71 and 70 to 61. Then on Thursday, on Monday of next week, we'll be doing 10. On Tuesday, we'll be doing 10. On Wednesday, we'll be doing 10, I think. Thursday, we'll be doing 20. Maybe we're doing 20 on Monday, too. I don't remember. And then on Friday of next week is the final 10. So lots of top 100 goodness. And anyway, just start at the top one for me and go down, and the first one that's custom dice is it, right? Now, if you're talking about which are my favorite custom dice, I'd have to think about that longer. I did 2 cruises, and I love the omelets on both cruises. Cruises make good omelets, for sure. It's just that I get, anywhere I go in the world, I travel to lots of different conventions, I end up going somewhere that has omelets. So the best omelet I've ever had in my life that wasn't homemade was at a Best Western in Oklahoma. I went to Oklahoma for a wedding, and this was 24 years ago. It was when Lord of the Rings came out, because we saw Lord of the Rings before the wedding, the first one. I think that came out in 2001. I went to this Best Western there, and the omelet there was phenomenal. I'll never forget that omelet. With a huge library of games like the Dice Towers, which ones are your shelves of shame or opportunity? Well, first of all, I don't believe in shelves of shame opportunity. Get them played or don't keep them. Now, we have a different thing here with the Dice Tower stuff coming in and out. So these aren't games that I'm buying and not playing. They just come through naturally. So there are games I'd love to play. I just haven't got around to. And eventually we do catch-a-paloozas and things, and we play some games. And in fact, a couple games from Catch-a-Palooza have made my top 100 this year. Are you a fan of Transformers? Yes and no. I love the toys. I'm a huge fan of toys, especially when I grew up. I couldn't afford most of them. The only ones I could afford were my parents bought me the real little ones. Like there was a little UFO that turned into a robot, and little tiny ones. I loved those. My neighbor had all the rest, so I loved them. My favorite were the Constructicons, because they made the big robot. They eventually made like 6 different versions of that, but the Constructicons I loved. And I also loved the big city that you could drive them around in. Starscream, I like Starscream, and I just like them. The cartoon was fine. As a kid, I loved it a lot. I've watched it recently. It hasn't aged well. I know there's various good and bad Transformers cartoons across the years. I don't watch cartoons as much. I watched the first 4 Transformer movies, and I progressively got less and less interested in them because I found that the robots all looked similar, and B, the humans distracted me from what was going on. I heard the new one's really good, Prime or something. I forget what it's called. Maybe me and my son will watch that one, but. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, they're okay. I like the Bumblebee movie. I don't know. Yeah, I like Transformers a lot. I like the idea of them. I just never really got into it. Have you seen the announcement of the Switch 2? Yeah. So I went home and I played the announcement for my kids because they all love the Switch. And they were like, great. It's the same but bigger, and I was like, yes. That was a very underwhelming announcement. I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff. It's going to be a better and more powerful, and the games and stuff. But what they showed now just didn't get people excited, other than the fact that it exists. Yay, a Switch 2, great. But show us the games. That will excite the kids. I've noticed that my kids, and they're teenagers all the way up to, college age and playing games, they don't care about how powerful a system is. They care about the games itself. I think it's only the true nerds who are like, ooh, this new system. A new system doesn't mean anything unless it has good games. Because right now I'm playing through Octopath Traveler 2. I'm playing that on the PS5. I'm sure you could play it on a Game Boy. It's not that high of quality. I like it. It's a really fun game. I think I'm starting to beat optional bosses, and I'm in my 40s levels in the game. I'm also level 50. So at that point, I'm pretty sure I could just go beat the whole game. But I'm kind of trying to over level and be super powerful, and who knows where we'll get. Hasbro just announced expansions for Monopoly. Oh, okay. Well, let's go. Hasbro announces expansions for Monopoly. 3 new... Okay, that was 6 days ago. I missed this piece of news. No, it's today. All right, 3 new expansion packs for Monopoly. Mike, if you're watching, put this in the news. Monopoly go to jail, Monopoly buy everything, Monopoly free parking jackpot. So without reading anything, I hate all of them already. But let's see. They don't say. There's a super jail. What does that say on it? To get out, pay $300 or super corruption cards to opponents. You may only stay up to 3 turns. So they made jail worse? Okay, so is it a super max jail? I'm confused. Then the free parking jackpot. This adds a spinner here. So if you land on free parking, you then spin the spinner. 4 things are good, but 4 of them make you pay money. Okay. More randomness. And then this one here just looks like just the thing that holds money. They'll be available as early as April 2025. All right, well, we'll have to see if they are any good or not. Do I hear from the chief anymore? Yeah. Just the other day, the chief and I were talking. Now, our conversation took place over the course of a week here, but it was actually like a 30-minute conversation. He was just catching me up. So there's an old video game called Commander Keen. If you've never played it, it's a fantastic game. Commander Keen is actually based on a real person, Commander Keen. And so Commander Keen had needed help. He was doing a run. They had to deliver some badly needed medical supplies to Watch. And so Chief Sokotoa went along as support, which is good because the Burling brothers showed up, and the Burling brothers, who incidentally are 3 women from an alternate Earth. That's what they call themselves anyway. They had started a circus. The circus didn't go well. There was 2 brothers. They killed the brothers and absorbed them into them, and it's a very confusing story. Anyway, they tried to take over, but Chief Sokotoa, the Burling brothers are now the Burling brother. So that was kind of interesting, and they were able to stop the pandemic, the galaxy-wide pandemic, from spreading to other things. So that was a good thing. Other than that, it's been pretty mild with the chief. Have I seen the trailer for the new season of Daredevil? I have. So I know that people are very excited about it, and I don't want to take away from their excitement. I'm more of a superhero guy rather than a nitty-gritty guy. So I hope it's good, but we'll see. Did your delivery guy ever ask why you get so many packages? See, I don't think that's a thing anymore. I think everyone gets tons of packages, so I don't think they notice. Because of Amazon, tons of people order stuff all the time. I had the UFO one, he was dark green. Yeah, and a big red button on the top of him. I think you push that button to make him transform, or it opened him up to transform. Those little ones were pretty cool. I like them a lot. Tom, are you designing a game involving hats? I am not. Warlord CCG coming soon. Do you plan to play this new edition? I might. I mean, why not? I mean, it's a good way to play Warlord again. I've always enjoyed Warlord. What are your thoughts on the roller coaster that is Lorcana? It seems like it fizzled out. Well, I don't think it's a roller coaster, because a roller coaster means up, down, up, down, up, down. Obviously, Lorcana started amazingly strong, and it's going to fizzle out over time to some degree, because all collectible card games, other than maybe Magic, Pokemon, and Digimon, a few things, do. I mean, I expect Star Wars Unlimited to go down. I love that game. I expect the other one, I can't remember the name of the other one, the Dixit one to go down too. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, I assume it'll be around for a while. People are going to keep playing. I still see people playing it at the local stores around here. Any plans for more Game and Talk? Maybe. We like doing them, but they are an immense amount of work. They take Chris weeks to edit. They're a lot of work to set up and record too. Have you had a chance to try the rebalanced sieves for Tapestry? I have not. They had a data analyst to analyze thousands of play on BGA and then had an official reprint. Yeah, I know about the rebalanced sieves. I'm sure it fixes them all fine. Is a newly arrived collection of G.I. Joe comics living up to your expectations, memories? I haven't read them yet. I've been waiting. Tonight is no electronics night at the Vasel household, so I'll play some games. I'm going to teach my son Star Realms normal, and then I'm going to probably play a game with the other kids. But yeah, I'll read some G.I. Joe comics tonight. So that's my goal tonight. What is the oldest video game system you remember playing? The oldest video game system I remember playing, I'm pretty sure I played maybe a bit of Atari. I know my parents owned Atari when I was very, very young, and they played it briefly until my dad thought it was a waste of time and got rid of it. He was worried it was taking up too much of his time. So I don't know if I played that system or not. My uncle had it. The earliest what I remember playing was the Atari whatever. And I remember playing Tunnels of Doom off a cassette tape, which I still have here at the studio. Somebody framed that cassette tape and sent it to me. And I wish there was an easy way to play Tunnels of Doom online, because I just want the nostalgia. Probably doesn't hold up at all. That's the oldest one I can remember playing. Then the Commodore 64, around the same time, everyone in the world got Nintendo except the Vasel household. So I would play Nintendo when I went to someone else's house, mostly Mario. When my friend got Super Nintendo, I was very excited about the Super Nintendo. I was a teenager, I think, when that came out. And then the Game Boy. The Game Boy is the one that took me over the moon. I thought the Game Boy was phenomenal. Still remember the Game Boy. Yeah, so, yeah, I guess the earliest one would probably be that computer. What was it? Was it the Atari computer? I don't know. Thoughts on Belt for today? Does it hold up? It's been so long since I played it, I could not answer that question, and I never played any of the expansions. Jake Zek, is there any way to know on which videos our crowdfunding shoutouts happen other than catching them live when they happened? Well, Jake Zek, we actually, if you see when I do them, I mark it down so that I can if you ask these questions, I can tell you when it went up. Well, I'm not seeing your name on the list here. I'd have to do like a search through the search engine to figure out where they are, because they're not in alphabetical order. I don't see Jake Zek, but that's how I do it. And so that's what I put them on there. We try to go through everybody during a top 100. So I will probably go through every name during this top 100 that we're about to do. Commander Keen was the first computer game I wanted the whole thing. I don't know if I ever did. I really liked Commander Keen. It was my Super Mario, right? I didn't have Super Mario. I didn't have a Nintendo system, but I had a Commodore 64, and I was like, Commander Keen is definitely better than Super Mario. Probably wasn't. Can you tell your unique clothing style started? Well, I mean, this is just a Hawaiian shirt. And this I just decided to wear it today, which was probably the worst day in Florida to wear it. The weather is cool and rainy today, but I just felt like wearing it. I don't know, I just find things I like to wear, like the Guaballeras that I wear, the Cuban shirts. I found them and I love them and I wear them. The ties, and I've worn a tie my whole life. I had to wear a tie when I went to school as a kid, and then I wore a tie. I always wore a tie to church. When I went to college, I wore ties, and I just like wearing ties. I always wore colorful ties, and people always would comment and say, "I really like your tie." And I always thought it was weird that everyone would tell me how much they liked my tie, but no one else ever wore colorful ties. There's all these novelty ties, and you almost never see anyone wear any. So I just kept doing it. I do it now because a tie keeps you awake to some degree. You know, when you're dressed up, you just are more alert, I found, for me. And it also has that distinct style. The hats I wear because I like wearing hats. Are you more excited to hear each other's top 100 list or a week's worth of jokes from Mike? Probably the week's worth of jokes. With your busy schedule and Dice Tower content posted in many places, how do you prioritize your responses to comments on your content that resides in a variety of different places? Well, the main thing is the YouTube video. So I don't respond to every comment. I do read, or I try to read every comment on the YouTube videos, on any YouTube video. I respond to some of them. Where else is there comments? BGG, I respond sometimes there to comments, and Facebook, but I mean, Facebook is so hard to keep track of where stuff is. So it's mostly on the YouTube video itself. How is the G.I. Joe Compendium? I think it's amazing. There's a Transformers one coming soon. I'm less excited about that one because I don't know if I've ever even read the Transformers comics. I've read some of the G.I. Joe ones, and I always knew the G.I. Joe ones were more interesting than the cartoon. Yeah, but it's beautiful. Who are the people you have subscribed to? Do you mean on YouTube? Nah, it's no one's business. Why don't you like Cthulhu Death May Die? I don't know. I don't love the theme, and I just felt like I was random dice rolling, which I know can be used against a lot of games I like, so who knows? But the theme doesn't attract me at all. This person says Nintendo 64 was my first. Well, that was not mine. I bought the Nintendo 64 when I was in college. I bought it and then I sold it because I needed money to buy an engagement ring. Best trade ever. And PS2 was your most played, says Eric. My most played system, well, it's got to be the computer, just because of all the Civilization stuff coming out. Yes, I know Civilization 7 is coming out in a month. I am cautiously pessimistic about it. I don't know, man. First of all, it's an odd-numbered Civ, and the odd numbers are never great. And they made some really crazy changes to it, and you know what? I might love them. I might love them, but I'm worried that I won't. But anyway, the computer, just because of Civ and games like that, is probably my most played. Although as a kid, it was definitely that Game Boy. I played that Game Boy forever. Do you think Heat, Pedal to the Metal, is too simple and gets boring over time? If so, what else do you recommend? Guess what? No, is my answer to that question. Now people are talking about these. Hey, would I consider adding another Dice Tower convention in North? Not at the moment. We have enough work running the three that we're running now, the Cruise, West, and East. If someone pledged for the shout out 10 separate times, would you mention your name on every list throughout the year? I don't know. Is someone planning to do that? I mean, we would mention it multiple times, I guess, if you did it. Have you played any VR games on Steam? I have not. It's almost negative 40 Celsius there, says Hannah. Looking at Tom's shirt makes me feel like I'm in a different world. I know. It's interesting. I was just watching a scene from a movie where they got out of a car and they're crunching in the snow, and you can see the white world behind them, and I can feel it in my body what that is, because I've been there, right? That whole, when you get out, the world is quiet, there's snow, and you just hear crunch of people walking in snow or what have you. It's crazy. I don't miss it at all. I miss it a little bit. It's nostalgic, right? But you can have it. But I get it. And my kids don't know what that means. Although, let me look. My daughters live in Pensacola. And I believe that, let me look here. Pensacola weather. They have snow coming their way, which almost never lands in Florida. It's 28 degrees there right now, which is hilarious to me. My kids are way, way less excited about it. And I think, is there snow coming today? It's coming today or tomorrow. But it's not like any snow. Like Pensacola gets flurries and that's snow. But they actually have a winter, there's a low chance, 10% chance, that there's going to be 3 to 5 inches of snow. But they're going to get 1 to 3 inches of snow and freezing rain possible. And that is happening on Tuesday, tomorrow. I really hope it happens for their sake. I also told them, don't go anywhere, because no one there is going to know how to drive or do anything. But they both have seen snow when we lived in Korea, but they were like 8 and 9 at the time, so they barely remember it. So they're going to be very, very pleased. Sounds like a fan is blowing on my mic. All right, well, I will try to hold it here like this. Tom, will you review any of these games? Says Sandro, and then list a whole pile of them. Yes. Does your dog ever sit in your lap when you do work home on the computer? Well, probably not. I have 2 dogs, a big fat Labrador Retriever mutt mix and a black German Shepherd. I have had them sit on my lap. They are both big, giant dogs. One weighs like 60 pounds. The other is, I don't know, like 40 or whatever, but still. I don't want those dogs in my lap. I don't mind them sitting around me, though. What were your main Game Boy games? By a mile, my main one was Final Fantasy II for the Game Boy, which is a very... I'm not going to keep holding this, sorry. Which is a very different game than the other Final Fantasies. It's so unusual. It has some unique... There's a monster character you can be who you eat meat dropped by monsters and it transforms you into another monster, which is cool, but actually is the least powerful thing in the game. You would get these characters who were mutants, who had magic spells, and the magic spells, you would use them a certain number of times, and then you'd have to go back to a shop to replenish them. Then there were robots who did the same thing with weapons. Every weapon you got in the game had a certain amount of uses. Like you get sword 50, and you'd use it 50 times and it was gone. But if you gave a robot a sword, it would cut it in half. So let's say you 50, and you give it to the robot, it would be 25. But then the robot could also replenish it when you rest it. I still love that game. I think I could go through that whole game right now. I would know where all the secrets are. Such a good game. And you're hunting down a different mana. Sorry. That was a fantastic game. All right. That was the main one I played. I also played the Super Mario for the Game Boy, and then, of course, Tetris. This shirt is just not particularly good for... Well, that shows how much I'm going to wear this shirt in the future. There we go. That should help a lot. Okay. I'm sneaking the dog into my shout-out this year again. Wife is getting a puzzle, so no shout-out for her. Fun fact, negative 40 degrees Celsius is negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. I did know that. That's like a good trivia question. The cold front pushing through Florida this week will drop us back into the 30s by Friday. Yeah, we occasionally get freezing. What just happened? We get freezing weather occasionally in Miami, but it's weird. And when it does, they have to run around and make sure all the little groves the trees don't die. Am I a chicken first or egg first? Chicken. Do you know what types of labels you use in the bags that have games in the library? I tried to label my bags and they don't hold on very well. I don't know. Wendy makes them, so you'd have to ask her. What do you think of all the UAP? Are we going to start using UAP instead of UFO? It's going to take me a while to get used to that. I don't know anything about these UAP sightings. Are people talking about that? Do we have the Nova Air and Ethnos second edition? Yes, we'll be talking about both of them over the next few weeks. I assume Ethnos will be reviewed in the next 2-3 weeks, and Nova Air likely also. I have a German Shepherd mix. Yeah, German Shepherds are great. I never even heard of black German Shepherds before I got mine. She's a little overly protective of me. That we're trying to still train that out of her. Like if I'm in my room at night and she's sleeping there, if someone would open the door to come in, she will growl at them. Doesn't matter who it is and bark at them. I mean, it's great if it's a criminal. It's not so great if it's one of my children. Have you played Heroes 3, the board game? I have not played that, yes. Yes, it's called Final Fantasy Legend 2. That's what it's called. It's great. Yeah, that's the thing about those Game Boys, man. You had to go through batteries, and rechargeable batteries were just coming in. If you remember at the time, rechargeable batteries that you could get took 24 hours to recharge, and they were very expensive. So, yeah, finding batteries was a pain. Oh, yes, Jesse, good to email you this morning. Like I said, I do emails in the morning usually. By the way, Final Fantasy Legend was the first game for Game Boy, says Emery. Final Fantasy Legend is not even remotely as good as the second one. This is one where the second one is way better. Yeah, I played Dr. Mario's case. With HeroScape back, do you think it will be back in your top 100 board games? Or is the availability of modern games diluted the excitement of the game? Ho ho! Well, there's only one way to answer that, and that's for you to come and listen to the top 100 games of all time starting this Thursday. Has HeroScape made a list? I know if it has or not. Has the HeroScape made the People's Choice list? I know that also. I think Final Fantasy 2 is different in the States than in the rest of the world. Now, you're getting that confused with the ones that they made for the Nintendos. And for the Nintendos, 1 and 2 were the same, I believe, actually. And then 3 in America was actually 6 in Japan. I'm not sure if 2 was 4 or something like that, but I know 3 was 6. For Game Boy, there was only those 2 made. Have you ever played Legend of Legaia for the PS1? I never had the PS1. I had a friend who had it. We mostly played the game where you drove cars around and shot at each other. And I was the ice cream truck. Is there any video game that you would want a new revamped version or a sequel to? Yes, Skyrim. It's been 14 years, and now they're talking about, they're just starting to work on it, and maybe, at best, they're saying 26. So I figure it will be 27. That's a long time. 16 years between games. It's like George R. R. Martin is writing these games. Have I read Wind and Truth yet? I have. If so, how is it? I enjoyed it, but I cannot say more than that until more people have read it. It's a big, long book, so I'll talk to you in person if you want about it. I might do a full review on it at some point. Would you classify soup as a food or a drink? It's definitely a food. Who is saying drink? I mean, no one is like, I'm thirsty. Let me grab a soup. It just doesn't happen. At best, you might say some broth or tomato soup. You would have that over, let's say, hot chocolate, I suppose. Soup is a food. I'm hungry. If I call my wife and say, what's for dinner? She can say soup. And I'd be like, all right, cool. And she might say soup because it's cold here in Florida. We're like in the 60s. We're freezing. But I like soup as a dinner. If I said, what's for dinner? And she said Kool-Aid, I would be less excited. People just like to argue about food when it's so obvious what food is. Did I see the Tetris movie from Apple? No, I never did get around to watching that. You could just use permanent marker in bags. You could, but the labels are just better, especially if you have a label maker like we do. It just makes everything look really nice. Why is the Dice Tower Game Found linked in the description of this video? Are there people here, the in crowd? No, we are asking anybody to who watches our videos. We're putting the link in all our videos right now so that if you like our videos, you can go back and support us for this coming year. Sound of the mic plus the shirt, you sound like a meteorologist reporting on location in a storm. Oh, sorry. Is it not fixed now? Oh, why is it not linked in the description of the video? Well, it will be. Sorry. That makes more sense than what you were asking. We're going to get the link in all the descriptions of our videos. Pretty typical German Shepherd behavior. They bond with one person, become very protective of that one person. It's particularly prominent in female German Shepherds, which is a female. Well, it's not necessarily one person. She just has a hierarchy. She is my dog, but if my daughter Holly is home, she is Holly's dog after me, and sometimes over me. It depends. Holly was the child. So the first night we got the dog, she was a puppy, and we kept her downstairs in a cage. And I said she's going to learn to sleep downstairs. And she cried, and I was like, we will get over this. We will not give in to her crying. And halfway through that first night, she stopped crying, and I was like, all right, see, I told you. Until a week later, I found out my daughter went and got her, and she was in her bed. I was like, well, there you have it. Now the dogs sleep in my room, not on my bed. Although the lab waits every day till I get up at 5, I go in my office, and the German Shepherd comes and lays at my feet, and or lays in the doorway, protecting the door, whatever. And the lab runs back and jumps in my spot in bed because she loves that bed. We have to close the door because she loves sleeping in the bed. But anyway, the German Shepherd is me, then my daughter, then my other daughter, Amy, both of them not home, then my wife probably next. I don't hate the dogs liking me the best. I don't, it's because I'm the most dominant with them, which the kids are like, but you're not as nice as we are to the dogs. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. That's the way dogs are. How many campaign games are you currently playing? Which ones do you plan to finish? Whew. I'm in the middle of 3 right now, and I plan to finish 1 of them, maybe. What do you think Dice Tower needs this year? Well, I will be announcing more of that, but as a future. I'm not necessarily looking for contributors. We are going to be adding some stuff to the Dice Tower as the year goes by. Right now, we want to finish the Game Found and see where our budget is for the year. There was a cord adapter for the Game Boy. Yes, you're right. There was. That's how I did it. I plugged it in all the time. I remember that now. Twisted Metal. Yes, that's the name. They made a TV show of that. How good are you at riding a bike? I can. It's been a while since I've ridden a bike. Riding a bike is fairly dangerous here in Miami because the roads are don't have big wide sides to them. They have a bike trail. There's a bus route that goes from Homestead all the way up to Miami and farther. And on that bike route, there's a bike path there. A, it's boring. B, unless you're there between, like, say, 10 and 5 p.m., 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., it's kind of sketch. And then riding anywhere else, you might get hit by something. I mean, I guess I could ride around the neighborhood here and I'd be okay. But my wife got me a nice bike. I was very excited. I rode it back and forth to school when I was teaching. And then someone stole it. And I just never got another one. Do you have a collection of playing cards? No, I just have 1 or 2 decks, maybe. Oh, so if you have soup and sandwiches, you don't need something to drink with that. You already have a drink and a sandwich. Right! No one says that. Like, I'm going to take a sandwich. What would you like to drink? Soup. 60s is not cold. We know. I'm trying to skip the soup and other questions now. Did you see the season finale of Silo? No, I didn't even watch the second season of Silo. I did see the season opening for Severance. That was exciting. Whew. Got to wait a week each week for an episode of that. And I'm really happy. Me and my family watched the finale to Skeleton Crew, and we loved that all the way through. Great finale, great one-shot series. I suppose they could make a sequel to it, and if they do, I won't be upset, but if they don't, I will also not be upset. A great one-shot, Goonies in Star Wars. I enjoyed it from start to finish, and we thought the finale was a blast. Very, very high thumbs up from all of us there. Do you have any games that you're excited to play at Dice Tower West? No, I'm just going to play whatever I get to play at there. I don't have any games I'm excited about. I'm just going to go in, find games, and play them. There is a specific game I'm going to play there, but I'm not going to say what it is right now. Did you ever watch Game Night with Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams? I'm always amused by the very beginning of that, the alpha gamerism of them playing games with their friends. Apparently, if I delete a comment in this chat, it does not delete it in Tom's chat. Yeah, because I get them on through Ecamm, which is a streaming service that we use, and so I don't. If they're deleted from YouTube, they're not deleted here. Do they still make label makers? Well, yes. Do you have a favorite online hat store? I do. Bruno Capello. That's how I remember it. Is the vote for the top 100 games of all time closed? Because when I click on the link on the website, it directs to top 10 push your luck games and said, yes, it is closed. Plans to review Flatiron. Yes, it's on the review shelf. We just haven't reviewed it yet, but it's going to happen. Let's see here. Did you ever start up that campaign game that the app deleted everything on? You started to make a video series before it happened, but I don't remember if you went back to it. Aeon's Trespass. No, it really just kind of dropped my... That game was so much work to play through and go through and do it. And after that, I kind of, the wind was knocked out of my sails. Come to the Netherlands. We have bike lanes everywhere. Well, sure, but not right now. Have you considered getting a Dice Tower golf cart? No, but it is funny you say that because of the proliferation of golf carts here. So down here in Homestead, there's a decent amount of golf carts. Not a ton, but there's a decent amount of golf carts. If you go up north, the next large city after Homestead is Cutler Bay. That's where I go to church, in Cutler Bay. And in Cutler Bay, it feels like everyone owns a golf cart. When my daughter was playing softball there, I went to the softball game and there was parking for cars and they had golf cart parking there. That just kind of made me laugh. Every Christmas they have a golf cart parade where all the golf carts get Christmas lights and go through the neighborhoods. Everyone loves their golf carts, but I don't think so. Have you tried Balatro, the video game? Yes. Oh, whoever mentioned that to me got me addicted. It is good. I'm pretty bad at it though. So I've beaten it. If you played Balatro, it gives you different decks. I am doing my best to try to beat the deck that gives you spectral cards. You would think, no, I beat that one, sorry. I haven't beat all the decks yet. And then I beat the decks. I beat one of the decks finally on red level, where the first one doesn't give you money. And then now I'm trying to beat a game on red level, and I just can't do it. Or the next level after that, it just makes the scores higher. I just haven't got it. If I get the right collection of jokers, I could probably pull it off. I'm just not like an expert at the game. What I do sometimes now is I just find a fun seed online and play that to see how high of a score I can get. But man, I do love the game. Do you use a Devo book for family devotions, or do you read through a book of the Bible together? Yes, to both of those. Did you know centaurs have 2 rib cages? I did not know that, but it does make sense, I suppose. Have you watched Will Trent? It's a detective cop show on ABC that had the most amazing season 2. I'm kind of tired of ABC shows. Are they? I don't know. I have not watched it, but everyone in the ABC, NBC, CBS shows, they always look beautiful and pretty, and it just feels like a TV show. I don't know. That's just starting to bore me. Any prerequisite Star Wars shows or movies you recommend before watching Skeleton Crew? No. I mean, if you know anything about Star Wars, you know Jedi, right? A Jedi exists. I mean, if you don't know that, you should watch Star Wars. Other than that, you need to know nothing. It is fine. There's some Easter eggs in there to other stuff, but barely. I didn't even notice them until I read afterwards and different things. It's a self-contained thing. What's your favorite squad and hero in HeroScape? I've done my top 10. I'll do another top 10 at some point in the future. Let's see. Are Z and Camille playing any more Oathsworn? Yes, I actually know an episode of that is going up this week. Is Oathsworn really worth it? I have over 300 games, just not sure I can make it to the table. That's up to you to decide. I mean, we tell you if we think games are worth it or not. For me, if I was going to play a campaign game, I would look at all the ones that are out there. They're also very different. We're going to be reviewing another one later this week, Iridia, which is from the folks who made Zaya. And that and Oathsworn are so different in how they play and everything. There's so many out there, these campaign games. Some of them concentrate on combat. Some of them concentrate on boss battlers. Some of them are more about a choose-your-own-adventure style. There's just so many different ones out there. Will there be a huge game of Ready, Set, Bet again at Dice Tower West? I think so. Sounds like my aunt and uncle's housing plan in Myrtle Beach. They do golf parades for Halloween and Christmas. Yes. I was so addicted to Blatcher the first week it released, and I stopped playing it as much until I watched someone on YouTube playing it very badly, which rage baited me into playing it more again. Oh, was it Z you were watching? I don't know. I mean, most of the time I see people playing games on YouTube, they're like, they're a million times better than I am. Will the Chief ever do a top 100 games in a future multiverse? Possibly, but since you wouldn't be able to get 99 of them, shockingly, one of his favorite games is Liar's Dice. But the other 99 you would never have heard of and you couldn't get. You'd just be mad. Let's see here. What do you think of collectible card games? I like Magic the Gathering, but I don't like the 100,000 options of cards and changes constantly. I like fixed X. See, that's the opposite of me. I get that people don't like, the collectability of it and the money pit, but I love having a bunch of cards and making a deck out of it. To me, that's really fun, trying to finagle a deck to make that deck mine. I don't even care if it's the best. I want it to be mine. I wasn't criticizing Z. I was just saying, asking a probing question to find out more. I plan to bring my copy of Sea Salt Paper to Dice Tower West. Make sure you finally get to play it. Well, I mean, here's the thing. You know, there's only so much. These games that are out there, there's only so much time that you have. People always say, I'm going to play this game with you at a con. Maybe, but maybe not. You have to be in the right place, right time. I only have so much time to play games. I cannot play a game with everybody. I can say hi to everybody, though. So if you see me at Dice Tower West, you want to come to Dice Tower West, make sure you stop and I'll say hi to you. Will a game happen? Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. Alrighty, well, thank you everybody for watching. Once again, I'd like to remind you, if you have not backed the Dice Tower Game Found, check it out at supportdicetower.com. Don't delay, don't wait. We really would like to fund so that we can all go to sleep at night rather than worrying if we have jobs this coming year. So consider doing that. And there's lots of cool things in there for you, but the most cool thing we hope is another year of the Dice Tower. Thank you everybody for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel. We'll be back later on this afternoon for a We'll Play It Live. See you then. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.